back to today's theory lesson. Today we're working from Celebrate Theory again. We're working through the level 2 book, and we're still working in level 4 right now. There's quite a few things to go over in level 4. Today I'm looking at page 36, and we're talking about key signatures. Now, in your particular level, they only have a limited number of key signatures for you to do. They want you to understand G major and C major, it looks like F major, and then they go into the relative minors. But I think it's really useful to understand how we get key signatures and how to know which sharps or flats to write in. So I'm going to show you a basic pattern on how we do that. I'm just going to share some of my charts here. Share screen. We're going to talk about the circle of fifths. And this is something that every student of theory memorizes. And it shows you exactly what key signatures are involved. I'm just going to go back a page here, grab my pen. In the circle of fifths, what we do is we start at the top with the key of C major. And in C major, from playing the scales, you know that there's no sharps or any flats in the key of C major. So that is none. And what this chart does is it goes around to the right. And from C to G is what we call an interval of fifths. So you have C, D, E, F, G. It's 5 notes apart. Then it goes from G to the D, and you'll notice that's a fifth apart, and D to the A is a fifth, and so forth. Once it gets to the B, then from here to here is also a fifth, but we're getting into sharps and flats. Now this is where you see it has a double name. There's an F sharp and there's a G sharp, and we call F sharp, G flat is the enharmonic note for F sharp, meaning it's the same note on the keyboard, but it has another name. It can be called 2 different names. From this point, from the F sharp to the C sharp is a fifth, or G flat to D flat, and harmonically naming that. And then from here on, we go back to the flats. D flat to A flat is a fifth, and it keeps going. B flat to F is a fifth, and then this brings us right back down to the C. So all the way around that entire chart, we've been moving in intervals of a 5. So scrolling up to key signatures. Something else that's special about the circle of fifths chart is the key signatures progress from, look at G major, there's only 1 sharp here, to D major, you're going to find 2 sharps. A major has 3 sharps, E has 4 sharps. B is interesting, we have the 5 sharps, but it can also be called C flat. C flat and B are the same note. C flat has 7 flats. So there's a difference in the sharps and flats. G flat major, you're going to have 6 flats. And F sharp major, you're also going to have 6 sharps. Then in D flat major, you're going to have 5 flats. Notice how the flats now are going to go lower. A flat has 4 flats, E flat has 3, B flat has 2, F has 1, and it takes us back to C major with nothing. So on the right-hand side, you progressively get more sharps. On the left-hand side, you progressively go down back to less flats. So this is a really valuable chart. You can find them online. Like I did, you can check out this website at the bottom here. This chart is really laid out nicely for you to study the circle of fifths. So I'm just going to stop that share and take you to another page. What if you don't have your circle of fifths memorized? How can we figure out how many sharps or flats to write? And how do we draw them in? So here's another valuable chart. One sentence I highly recommend you memorizing as a theory student is, Father Charles goes down and ends battle. This shows the names of all of the sharps that we have. They're underlined, F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And it also shows up here the order that we draw those sharps in. They have to be in this order. You cannot write the B sharp first and then go to a D sharp. They have to be in order. So the F sharp always starts on the top line, and then you go down to C, up to G, down to D, and so forth. I'm going to go through them again on my whiteboard following this. And then you have the order of flats. It's interesting. It's just the same sentence we just used. but it's backwards. So you start with the battle. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father. And that's the order of the flats. You have to put the B flat first, the E flat next, A flat, D flat. And you can see the pattern up here, the order that which they go. They're kind of slanted like that, and they follow that pattern. So now the question is, how do I know if they tell me write a key signature for D major? How do I know how many sharps to use? And I don't have the circle of fifths with me, but I did memorize the sentence. So for D major, it's really easy. You simply go up to the letter name that you wanted. What key did you want in the sentence? Find it, and you cross off that one and one before. D major, you need to draw two sharps, F and C sharp. Let's try another one. So I've been asked to draw the key of E major. So I go up in my sentence until I find E. Then I knock off that one and the one before, and I'm left with these words. E major has four sharps, F, C, G, and D. I'm going to do one more with you here. Let's try to eraser. Now I'm copying and pasting. So let's erase that. Let's try to find a big one. Let's do B major. I knock off that and the one before. So B major has five sharps written in that order. Okay, let's look at the flats now. Flats are a little bit different. Let's say I need to find the key signature for A flat major. So using the sentence backwards, I go up to my A. And in this case, I'm going to add one more. So A flat major has four flats. B, E, A, and D flat. I'm going to try one more with you. Why don't we do E flat major? Oops, here we go. So I find E flat. I'm going to add one more. So E flat major has three flats, B, E, and A flat. So that sentence is really, really helpful to use. I'm just going to go up here now and share my whiteboard just to reinforce the order that we draw these sharps and flats in and where they start, because the sample I just showed you, or the PDF, it only showed treble clef for your sharps there. So for the sharps, I'm using the sentence Father Charles. So here is Father on the top, Charles is on the space, so you go down to meet it. Goes is sitting on top. Father Charles goes down and it's a little messy. I'm using a mouse to write here on this white part. So Father Charles goes down and ends battle. For the bass clef, it's the same order, but you start on this F. It's Father Charles, then you jump up, goes down, and ends, and in battle you go down to the second line and ends battle. Of course, you're going to make it not quite so spread out as I did in the sample here. So let's go to the flat sentence, remembering that we have to do that backwards. So it's battle ends and down goes Charles' father. I'm just deleting all these so we can get to our flats. So we start on the middle line, battle ends, and in this case we go up and we slant them. Battle ends and down goes. It's a little messy, sorry about that. Charles and father. And then for the bass clef, you're going to start on this B. It's battle ends and down goes Charles' father. There we go. And of course, nice and neat, and it's going to be squished in a little bit closer to the clef sign, not so spread out over the course of the staff there. So I'm just going to stop the share here. So remember, in your theory level, though, you're only going to be writing key signatures for G major, and using your chart, you'll find out that G major has one sharp. You'll just have F sharp. C major, you won't have to write anything in for the key signature. And F major is going to have the one flat, the B flat. But it's really vital at this stage that you learn the circle of fifths and that you also learn those true sentences so you can figure out your own key signatures in the future scales you're going to have, and especially when you move on to the level 3. So I hope this video has helped you. If you need any more help, please feel free to ask me a question in the comments, and be sure to subscribe so you can catch the rest of your theory class. Thanks very much for joining me.